Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at michaeldukeshow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Hello, and welcome to Thursday. How are you guys doing this morning? Are you ready for this? I mean, it is blustery and rainy with tons of weather happening across the state. We're going to get into that here in a second. And we'll give you some of the details about what's happening around the state of Alaska. But today is mostly a freeform day. Today, it's going to be you and me. And I hope you want to participate today because I really would like to hear some of your thoughts on some of the topics that we've tackled and gotten into this week. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the conversations we've been having. And to that end, we're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here this morning. First things first. Now, I know it's early. I know some of you haven't had your first cup of coffee yet. I know you may not be cognizant. Welcome to my world, right? This is where I'm at today too. We're ready to go, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So we'll open up the phone lines right now at 319-527-3864, 319-527-3864. Any topic that we've been tackling this or anything is fair game this morning. So whatever it is that you want to talk about here regarding the state of Alaska, we'd love to tackle it and dive into it with you this morning to discuss. We've got some other headlines that we're going to kind of shuffle through here this morning before we get too far along. And then in hour two, probably not right at the top of the hour, but maybe shortly thereafter, we'll be joined by Judy Eledge, who is part of the group that would like to repeal ranked choice voting. And they have a very short window here to finalize and get everything done. This last weekend is going to be one final bite at the apple, so to speak. This weekend, in fact, they're going to be getting together this Saturday down here on the peninsula. If you're on the southern peninsula in the Homer, Anchor Point, Nikiski area, you can come down to Captain's Coffee from 1 to 3 p.m. on Saturday. And they're going to be taking final signatures on the ranked choice voting repeal. So if you haven't signed this late, because remember, you may have signed it before, but that was a different one that was fit, so now we have one final chance to do that from 1 to 3 p.m. this Saturday. Captain's Coffee down on the peninsula, and there may be some other ones around the state, but we'll find out from Judy. I just happen to know about the Captain's one because it's right here in my own backyard, and we can dive into that, and hopefully they can gather enough signatures to get this back on the ballot so that we can have another chance to repeal this ranked choice voting craziness, because it is crazy, man. It is. Oh man. So anyway, that's what's going to be happening in hour 2. We'll have some info there. I've got one line on hold right now. We're going to get to Melody here in just a second. But some of the stories that we're going to be tacking into include the where the money is going. All this money that the state has been pushing towards education. Of course, the education unions get a big chunk of that. Where does that go? That's going to be one of the big pushes here. We'll also talk a little bit about what Juneau has been suffering under these proposed cuts and what they're doing now. There's a new article from David Ignall that continues the discussion on the Chief Walls situation down in Ketchikan that Treg Taylor tried to diffuse, I guess, the situation through there. We could talk about that. Plus we've got some other stories, and as I said, some of the weather alerts and everything else. So we're going to get into all that. But before we do, let's start taking your phone calls, because I think that's fun times today. Fun times we're going to be had by all as we take some phone calls. So let's get into it. Let's jump over there right now. I see that Melody is on the line, and we're going to get her. We're going to get her on board here in just a second. As soon as I get my button, the button is not. Here we go. There we go. All right, let's get Melody on the line here and see what she has to say. Good morning, Melody. How are you?
Good morning. You're making me laugh this morning. As soon as I figure out how to get this.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, it is. Hold on a second.
Everybody. I'm going to start this in the chat room.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Melody. Melody, let me see, because your audio is super quiet this morning. So let me see if I can see if that's me or you. Let's see. Let's get that. Let's try that right there. Let's try that again. Can you hear me still? There we go. Okay. All right. Okay, Melody, go ahead. Let's see what we can get going on here.
Okay, I want to stir up the chat room this morning with, what is this baloney that we're hearing about Murkowski and Patola running for governor and assistant governor? I guess it would be under the governor.
Lieutenant governor. Yeah.
I haven't had my first cup of coffee. I guess I should have had the coffee first, so my brain's fully functioning. But yeah, that's all. I want to know what everybody has to say about what they think about a Lisa Murkowski and Mary Patola governor mix.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be lots of comments. So that's all. I kind of wanted to stir the pot this morning. All
right. Well, thank you, Melody. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, that's
no
it.
Problem.
Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Well, Melody raises a good question. She raises a valid question. She said, what do you think about the rumor that's been floating around about a combined ticket of Lisa Murkowski as governor with Mary Peltola as lieutenant governor? And well, quite honestly, that's a that's a match that is scary, right? I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's a possibility, and quite honestly, it's something that scares me just a little bit. I'm scared a little bit about that. So I think that it's something that we have to be wary of. I don't know if it's actually happening. Again, both Peltola and Murkowski have been very, what word do I want to use here? Cagey.
All participants.
Cagey, I guess, would be the answer that I would say. They've been real cagey about this, and I'm not. I'm I'm worried about where this is going. If that was the case, that would be that. What they would actually set us up for a very interesting scenario in the coming months, and it would truly be kind of an us versus them scenario. Now, would Lisa Murkowski take the route of her dad? Because this is the same route. I remember I said it the other day that I said I'm not sure that she would bail out of the national scene to come back to the local scene, although that's exactly what her father did. And that's what led to her becoming the senator from Alaska. But do I think that she would come back and do that? I don't know. I do know that a Murkowski-led ticket of Murkowski and Peltola would be powerful. It would be powerful. And problematic for any kind of conservative rake, because again, the Democrats and moderate Republicans would all get behind that ticket, and that would truly be, that would be kind of a writ large example of what our bipartisan coalitions have been about in the state government. And basically it would be about continuing the spend that the state has right now. But now, that being said, I think Murkowski and potentially Peltola are smart enough to look at this and realize that they may not want a piece of this poison pill. And what do I mean by that? Well, the overall the fiscal state of Alaska, that we are facing this enormous budget deficit, and it's going to be, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard for them to be able to pick up the pieces, so to speak, and figure out how we're going to make the state whole based on the numbers that we have right now. And it is, I don't know if I would want to tackle it. You've got a state that's going to have almost a $2 billion deficit next year. I don't know as I would want to be the one that would have to handle, would have to handle all that stuff. That's not something that would make me a happy camper. Let's put it that way. So, but I think Melody brings up a valid point. What if that takes place? Well, Melody, that would be kind of the perfect storm. And it would force the Republicans to, I think, reassess their positions on a lot of things. And you're going to have to get behind one candidate, because it's going to have to be a one-on-one race by the time the whole thing's over. It's going to have to be Lisa and Mary as one ticket. And this is in a primary. And they would have to telegraph early that that's what they want. But it'll be Lisa and Mary on one ticket, and then against, really only one candidate on the other. Every other candidate is going to have to make a decision as to whether or not they can hold their own against this. Let's just say it would be messy. Let's just say it's not something that I want to, that I would want to tackle. So thanks for bringing up that nightmare on a Thursday morning, Melody. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, we are coming up. We've got more dead ahead. We've got some headlines, and the phone lines continue to be open. What do you think? Who do you think should be running for, we've got 10 different candidates for governor right now. Do you have one that you've already picked? Do you have one that you think is going to be the weakest link that should just go? Or is there one that hasn't announced yet that I had somebody stop me the other day in Soldotna last week and said, there's a new candidate coming out and he's going to be great. And I'm just like, okay, I mean, great. But again, 9 candidates already, 10 candidates already now. How many more candidates do we need before we start splitting stuff up into different areas? So your thoughts on that? 319-527-3864, 319-527-3864. We will continue in just a moment. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Back with more in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes on Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why the phone lines were so quiet this morning. It's always something, man. It's always something. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. All right, I think I got it. Maybe I got it tuned up a little bit. I know you guys could hardly hear her. Nobody could hardly hear her on the Nobody could hardly hear her on that as well. So that's just the way it is. All right. Let me go back over here, see what you guys have been saying, see what you guys got to say here this morning. Okay. I'm scrolling backwards. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. But you are a professional. Yes, I am. The show must go on. Can't get full screen on my laptop. Keeps going to reload page. Any thoughts? I don't know. Frank, reboot maybe. That's, Shelly said she had the same issue and had to close all the way out of Facebook and come back in. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's a mess here. What? Are you talking about me, Rick? Are you looking at me? Did you rub my lamp? Don't push the red button. Okay. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody is puking. Oh, no. Match made in hell. Oh, everybody is losing their minds. Everybody is losing their minds right now. Well, says Greg, I guess that would send the crazy train off the cliff. It might happen. Bill is not happy about that. Bill is like, don't bring that thought up. Don't bring that thought up. Yeah. Willie just said, and Willie I see is in the chat room. We're going to test Willie's audio here in a second. He says, I don't see that happening. Mary is sucking up huge bucks doing nothing but posturing for future run. That's kind of how I've been reading what she's been doing. She's just kind of, they're all pursuing her, like the Democratic Party's like, oh, you got to run. And she's just using that to kind of, facilitate some money making in the meanwhile. Oh, we'll see. Sorry. Melody said, sorry, you opened the chat room, Michael. No, I love it. Let's see. They turned the state into a big park. Says Jeffrey. Waiting to hear Anthony's comment, says Rick, and then he is not disappointed because Anthony comes out. He said, PSA from your local heating dude. I don't care who you use, but if you can't remember the last time you had your boiler service, call them. guys like me are already getting booked 3 to 4 weeks ahead, and your system crashing out at 3 a.m. on Saturday is an emergency at 30 degrees at minus 30. It's not the time to plan for maintenance. Get your house right before it's too late. Yeah, buddy. Frank says that Matt High Lala is someone I'm interested in. And my question is why? What has he got? You know, that's a good question. What has he got there? All right, let's go over to the phones and see if that was a Melody phone problem or if this is a me problem. It's probably a me problem. Willie, are you with us?
You betcha. Good morning, Alaska.
Okay. All right. You're here and you sound pretty good. All right. Well, we're going to dive back into this with you here in just a sec. Can you hold on the line for me, Willie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We'll be back to you here in just a couple minutes. So don't go anywhere. I'll put you back. I'll put you back on hold. I pumped up. It's not just Melody. It is everybody's a little quiet this morning. Why? I don't know. It's a classic, isn't it? It's a classic. It is what it is, but we're going to make it through. I've jacked up. I've boosted everything that I can possibly boost. And we'll get things ready to rock and roll here as we let me go over here and turn this up. I'll turn that up just because I can. Okay. All right. Anything else before we return to the radio? Anthony says, I'm treating the 200 Republican candidates like a Hunger Games trilogy. I'm not getting emotionally invested until the third movie and half the cast dies out. I love you, man. I love you, man. That's a great comment. That's Anthony in a nutshell. All right, here we go.
Public enema number one. Oh, wait, sorry. Public enemy number one, which makes more sense. On the other hand, he's a little bit of a pain in the Michael Duke show.
Yes. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the program. I know we came back earlier. It is what it is, man. Deal with it. It's Thursday, and we're getting ready to go. We've got one line on hold. Phone lines are open today to talk about anything that we want to talk about. We just had a question in from Melody out in the Valley who asked the question about, what about a Murkowski-Peltola ticket for governor? And my brain just locked up like, oh God, that's crazy. So we're going to take some more calls. Willie Keppel is out in Quinnahock, out towards Bethel. And he joins us this morning to give us his thoughts on whatever it is that he wants to talk about. Good morning, Willie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing just lovely.
Good.
Well, I think everybody can rest safe. If you want to know Mary, Mary is all about Mary, and Lisa is pretty much all about Lisa. And that's two alpha females I just can't see getting together on the same ticket. Mary's making huge bucks right now, and that's what Mary's always been all of her life. I've known Mary since way before she ever got into politics out here. So I don't see that as possible. I really don't. I think what the state should be a little more worried about is the possibility of Mary and Click Bishop joining forces. That to me, Click's not doing well in the polls. He has huge supporters, the same supporters that support Mary. I think that's the combination right there that we need to be a little bit more afraid of. But anyway, that's not why I was calling. You said you needed to stir up the pot a little here.
Stir away, my friend. Yeah, stir away. Whatever you got, let's do it.
All right. Well, we have this issue going out here in Bethel right now over a transgender teacher in the 6th grade. And I'm telling you what, Bethel is at odds with itself. And you have the liberal left going to the school board meetings going, rah, 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 this might wake little kids up to the possibilities in life. And you know the left story on all this, but what you have is there was 18 kids assigned to this 6th grade class. There's 4 6th grade classes in Gladys Jung School in Bethel. And they're all basically 18 students apiece. And what it turned out was this particular class got loaded with almost 100% native kids. And the other classes are overwhelmed with whites and blacks. You know, there's a lot of black community in Bethel now because of the hospital. Over the years, the demographics have changed out here. It used to be Bethel was predominantly native. Now Bethel is to the point that the city manager in Bethel can't get the INS grants, BIA grants, whatever, for village safe water and get the kind of points to be able to score ahead of others, because Bethel is no longer a majority native community. It's been overtaken, and that's been quite a while now. So the way the point system worked for water and sewer through the federal program is natives first, which gives the villages finally a chance to get something ahead of Bethel. But anyway, the long and the short is they overloaded this poor classroom with nothing but natives. And natives, in my 40 years out here, natives basically prefer not to be vocal. They're just a whole lot less welcome to the idea of getting out and protesting or doing anything else. So I think this was set up and designed. And there's a letter that came out from this transgender that he posted on his own post that before the school year started, the school had already circled the wagons, per se, with him in the center to take on any parents that are having a problem with their kid being in a classroom with transgenders, even though this very same transgender has been using the bathrooms for little girls and uses the city swimming, which has a completely fluid bathroom system down there. The city of Bethel is every bit as liberal, the council, as Anchorage, trust me. And he's been using the women's bathroom to change at the city swimming pool. And there's numerous complaints filed, nothing gets done. But anyway, the long and the short, 18 out of the 18 parents that have children in this 6th grade class, they had a revolt on the second day of school, and only 4 kids showed up for this 6th grade class. So therein starts the battle of, hey, we want our kids transferred. Well, nope, that's not happening. You didn't fill out the paperwork according to the principal. You had to have that paperwork in, but the problem is the school never sent the paperwork on time. They finally eventually got a ruling from the school board. Yeah, the paperwork didn't go out on time. Maybe you can transfer. Well, fast forward 2 weeks. We had 2 more meetings here the other day, one during the day, one in the evening, with the big board, little board and the big board. There's advisory board and regular board. So they go through all this, and there's still, to this date, there's still nothing happened in 2 weeks, other than a letter went out apparently yesterday, and I'm still waiting to see a copy of the letter. But no transfers for these kids. So what's already transpired, and I've had an outpouring of help has come to me, and I've passed it to every parent I know that's on the list, and it's been passed around. But there's a huge movement right now going straight towards homeschooling. And I'm going right on, just go ahead and move them out. What they want to do, if they want to take your parental rights away from parents, then get your kid the hell out of that school. It's just that simple is the way I look at it. A parent has a right to say who is going to be around their kid. And I don't care if it's the neighbor's kids next door that's always busting windows just to hear the glass tinkle. You keep your kid away from them unless you have a deep pocket to be buying glass, you know. That's a parent's right. But anyway, this is the big to do, and it all has to do with the unions and the NEA stances right now on where they're at. It's all this the old 1960s acid dropping generation, kumbaya when singing in the bus, or 99 beers on the wall. Who cares? But it's the old hippie generation that's leading this movement in Bethel. Gay parades, everything else, literally the old hippie generation, and it's not playing well. And just for further note, this guy was last year in Quingillanook, which is the village that's across the bay from us over here. It's a fair distance across the bay, but they told him, "You're out of here." And they booted him. So they gave him an administrative job. And that's what the district should have done, was just keep him away from kids, in a position of command in a classroom. They should have just gave him an administrative job until he got tired of it and left. Because most teachers don't hang out here very long anyway when they come. But that's pretty much what I had, you know.
Yeah, well, Willie, I mean, why, you know, how when did Bethel get so judgmental? I mean, come on, these kids, you know, I'm sure he's just doing the right thing, the job, and I mean, it's not surprising to me that parents are outraged. It's not surprising to me, and it's not surprising to me that the administration had already circled the wagons before the first complaint was filed, because they knew it was going to be a problem. Right? That's what it tells me. When they had already circled the wagons before the first day of school and gotten all their ducks in a row, they knew it was going to be a problem, and they were going to try and force it down the parents' throats. And good on the parents for deciding to make that choice to pull their kids out. I mean, that's the way it is. And why not? Why not allow them to, to homeschool or do whatever? If the if the local community school and the school board is not going to listen to the parents who are there, then maybe that whole thing needs to be re-examined at this point.
Well, I've been calling for the principal to be fired. And you need to understand, Bethel is one of these places, anywhere in the bush is like it. And I'm sure to an extent, most small communities anywhere in America are the same way. Mm-hmm. When the population isn't real big, it's kind of like a family control. Once you get a family kind of in, the family is there. And so this Principal Winkleman, she's a female, she is married to the CEO of YKHC. That's the Native Health Corporation out here. And their policy is wide open too. In fact, they go out of their way to recruit the HR departments at YKHC. Native Health go out of their way to recruit people that lean left. They need the votes out here, and they know that they'll hang for a year or two, but they're still on the voter rolls, and that's where the mail-in votes come out here and play such a heavy effect on us.
Right.
But they need the left. They hire the left. They do anything humanly possible. And YKHC, now where this principal's at, I mean, they're on husband and wife, and YK has another transgender working in there, about 6'9", all 6'9" of them, that's into the women's swimming pool or the women's changing room at the city pool too. And yet there's no outcry. There's nothing. I mean, our city council is, they were just up there at AML in Barrow here not long ago and listening to Senator Scott Kawasaki tell them how we need to get the rest of the PFD tied up into defined benefits.
Right.
You know? Yeah, that's AML.
Well,
and that's our city.
Willie, give me a prediction here. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, you're on the ground there. You're very active in politics of the Bush and in the Bethel area there and those surrounding communities. What do you think is going to happen with this? Do you think that there will be any kind of cave, or do you think the people will just basically keep their kids out? And I mean, especially when it comes to the count, what happens when the kids are not there for the counting period, for butts in the seats day when they're getting the funding? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that if they hold out long enough, something will change, or are they kind of going to be on their own devices and just have to homeschool their kids? Give me a prediction here.
Well, let me tell you what I've been doing. I have a radio show that I do on Friday mornings out here, plays Bethel, plays Dillingham. And I've been calling for the last 2 weeks, I've been calling for every parent that objects to the school board policy of trying to force and manipulate kids and parents into their way of being. I've been suggesting that every parent that has a problem with this should withhold their kids 2 days every week during the month of October, which is the head count month. And by withholding kids 2 days every week for 4 weeks in October is going to hammer the hell out of their finances at LKSD.
Yeah. No.
And so this is what I'm doing. But what I think they have this, they don't have the transgenders been out of the classroom for, excuse me, this whole week. And what I think is going to happen is they're going to try to save face and keep the, what do you call it, teacher, assistant teacher or whatever in there, and try to change the teacher out. Because right now they have, what are you going to do if out of 18, four fell out, so that's 14. If they all pull out, that's a heck of a loss financially, but it's also, what are you going to do? Then how do they justify not just taking those leftover 4 kids and putting them into one of the other 3 classes?
Yeah. No,
I mean, they are claiming that they're broke. They're always claiming they're broke, right? Well, here's a way to get rid of one teaching position, you know?
Yeah. Well, if you've got if they've got 4 classes and there's only 18 in the class and there's only 4 left, then they could split up those other 4 kids pretty quick and add one kid to every other class. And, you know, parents should have some control and they should have some say in that. And if it makes them uncomfortable, whether people think it's right or wrong, if it makes them uncomfortable, it's how they feel, and they should be able to have a say in that. And if they want to transfer to another class, they should be able to without the roadblocks of the school district. So, well, keep us up to date on this, Willie. Let us know what happens, and we'll be watching to see. It would be interesting if people took your advice and kept their kids out of the schools for that, for the counting period, for a portion of that counting period, because that would be I mean, that would open up a whole nother can of fish, you know, a kettle of worms out there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So, all right. Well, thank you, Willie. Appreciate you calling in this morning and being part of it. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. And good morning, Alaska.
All right. Thank you so much. Phone lines are open, 319-527-3864, 319-527-3864. I'm just going to say that's reason number 326 why we homeschooled our kids right there. Because, I mean, I didn't want to have to deal with that kind of nonsense. That's what I was facing. All right, we got to go. We're going to be back with more in one moment. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio.
We're broadcasting live through a series of tubes.
Allowing all of these entities to provide streaming stuff going on the internet.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. Sorry. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay, welcome back. Fat Ray said parents should have the final say, Michael. I agree, 100%. Again, it's why It's why we homeschooled our kids, because you just, we just didn't know. We had just made that decision early on that we wanted to homeschool our kids. It's strange, and of course, small town politics. In the villages, it's even smaller. It's smaller town politics, right? Kevin just said, in fact, he said it's interesting to go to the City of Bethel website and try and find the names of any of the government officials, I think is what he meant. And Rick asked him what he meant, and he says, I don't know. It's just weird. I just clicked on the government page, and usually you see the names and pictures of the manager, the mayor. He says, if the names of the leadership are there, they are pretty deep, or my internet skills are slow this morning. That's the thing. Are they hiding who everybody is involved in this situation? Again, Chris, I think, hits it all here. Homeschool. I mean, I think that's the option for a lot of these folks. Although Fat Ray did say Fairbanks School Board can't wait to hire this guy when he leaves the village. We'll see what Melissa has to say about that. But yeah. And I think, before anybody gets all the hate up and everything else about how we've been trashing the trans people or whatever, if somebody wants to do something to their own bodies or do it, look, you do you, but don't force me to participate in your delusion, right? That's kind of the thing here. You want to do, that's fine. But I also have a choice as to not expose my own children or anything else to that. Anthony, I think, who is usually very tongue-in-cheek this morning, I think has something that's basically kind of lays out what my feelings are on it. At some point, we're going to have to acknowledge that allowing a severely mentally ill percentage of the population to chemically alter their hormones and brain chemistry, and to opt for surgical mutilation, and then allow them unhindered access to children is probably a bad idea. Now, I know that that's hate speech for some people. I know that that's hate speech. But if somebody has that kind of confusion going on about their own lives and their own identity and gender, and they're going to do all those things, I just am not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable putting my kids in that situation. Even if it's the minutest possibility that something could be, that some ideology could be transferred, or the kids could be proselytized in any way, even the minutest possibility, it would worry me and make me uncomfortable. That's just how it is. And I think that's going to lead to our next story here. Our next story is out of the Must Read. It's an opinion piece by Micah Shields, who is he's a commentator here on Must Read, and he talks about this thing that went on in the Kenai. This former Soldotna high school teacher, who was also the head of the union. He was the teacher union president, who's now been convicted on 28 felony counts, including 24 charges of second-degree sexual abuse of a minor. When we put these people, in charge, or give them a position of authority over our children, we are, we're taking a chance. Anytime we put somebody that we don't know in a position of authority over our children, we're taking a chance that authority could potentially be abused. And in this case, we see that this is what's happened again here. Again, we see this again and again, where we see teachers who have taken advantage of those kind of things. And it's very frustrating. And as I have mentioned in the past, I have family members that have suffered at the hands of a situation like this. And so I am very cognizant and very worried about that kind of stuff. And when I see these kind of things happening, it just kind of, it it brings me back to the idea that my wife and I made a decision early on that this is just not something that we wanted to expose our children to. It's just not something that we were interested in any way, shape, or form. Kevin says the government has no business in our bedrooms or our sex lives or who we love, but neither does the NEA. Why do trans people or drag queens not want to serve in senior assisted living? Why do they always want to have to be in libraries or schools? Yeah, that's pretty much right there. All right, we're going to jump back into it. Here we go. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Like and share, follow, subscribe, ring the bell.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
Okay, so the phone call from Willie has led us to talk about one of the news stories that's been out there right now. And I think is a valid concern. And the phone lines are open if you want to call in at 319-527-3864. We'd love to hear from you guys this morning on this or any topic. It's open line today. So if you have some other topic that you want to tackle, let's do it. Oh, I guess I should, because I said I would, before I get into my next to this next story that kind of it bridges the gap for what Willie was talking about. I will give out the high wind warnings. There is a high wind weather event for South Central. And we were feeling it yesterday. My wife had plants blow down off the porch yesterday, some high winds up here and rain, but there is a high wind advisory for Anchorage, the Mat-Su, and even up in Fairbanks, up towards Delta Junction. I mean, come on, who would believe that the wind would blow in Delta Junction, right? Wind gusts up to 55 miles an hour in Delta, and in the southeast Fairbanks census area, 55 to 65 in the East Range North Trims Camp and Eastern Range south of Trims Camp. They've got gusty wind and rain. Up in Anchorage, wind gusts up to 55 miles an hour and 75 miles an hour up on the hillside until 10 p.m. this evening, 75 miles an hour. And then out in the Mat-Su in Palmer and Butte, winds gusts up to 55 miles an hour as well. So it's going to be very, very windy in the South Central area over the next day, over today mostly, and up tomorrow in the interior. And again, it's blowing pretty hard down here on the peninsula, down on in the lower peninsula as well. It's a little breezy down here, but at least there's no snow. That's all I'm saying. At least there's no snow yet. So that's the weather advisory that I wanted to throw out there. But I think that Willie's point about some of these things that are going on in school, and this has always been part of the heartburn that I have had with this blind trust in the public school system. Because of my experiences and my family's experiences with the school system, knowing people who had been taken advantage of. And then, so when my wife and I got married and we had, we'd made some decisions early on, we decided to keep our kids out of public school. That played a big part of it. It really did. And now you've got, again, this battle that Willie was just talking about down in Bethel. And quite honestly, I had already heard about this. I had heard about the discussion about this and the rumors about this had already gone well beyond the borders of Bethel and their surrounding communities over this teacher and the behavior and what was going on there. And then we see what happened down in the Soldotna, in the Kenai School District in Soldotna. And we have this continual problem with betrayal of trust. And this has always been my problem with people who just blindly trust the school district or blindly trust the education system. I'm not saying that there aren't trustworthy people in it. Don't get it twisted. Don't not hear what I'm saying. But you should never just have blind trust for an overall system. And that has been brought forward by what happened with this high school teacher down here in Soldotna, Nathaniel Erfurth, who was not only the high school teacher, but was the president of the Kenai Peninsula Education Association. He has now, and you probably heard about this like last week or whatever, it was announced at the end of last month. He has now been convicted on 28 felony counts, including 24 charges of second-degree sexual abuse of a minor. And they were, again, these were detailed crimes. This was not abstract. This was specifically things that were going on for a long period of time and were committed right under the noses of everybody there. Now, somebody in the chat room, I think it was Cindy, just said something along the lines of that we need to have a deeper dig into this. An independent investigation needs to take place to see who knew about Erfurth's actions and who turned a blind eye. Because I'm sure that there probably was some component of that somewhere along the lines. And maybe they didn't have proof, but maybe they had suspicions. This guy was grooming this young girl for a period of time. And apparently his wife thought everything was above board and everything else and all these other. But see, this is part of the problem. When you have somebody who has a predilection for this, it's problematic because they seem to they seem to always focus and go into positions that would put them into the, I guess, predator all-you-can-eat buffet, right? They go into things like teaching, library services or something like that, where they have the contact with that. And people say, well, it doesn't really, I could name you, well, we got Erfurth, we had the whole Skylar Evans thing. We had, there was another one, several up in Fairbanks over the 25 years that I was watching the school system. Up there, at Ryan Junior High at Osterbeck. And it happens, right? It's not like it's a once in a century situation. It's more like once every 2 or 3 years, once every 5 years, maybe we hear about this going on. And I think parents have a right to make that determination if they feel like their kids are safe in a situation. Now, whether they're, straight-laced or appear to be straight-laced or they're trans or they're whatever, kids have the right, or parents have the right to make the decision for their kids in those situations. And quite honestly, every time I see a situation like this where somebody is going to be, potentially getting 450 years, I think, is the maximum sentence that this Erfurth guy could get, because he could get 5 to 15 years per offense, and he's got 28 offenses. The recidivism rate among these guys is spectacularly high, and anybody who harms a child, this is just my opinion, does not deserve to remain among us. Again, the chances of recidivism is too high, and I am worried about the fracturing of children. This is, well, I can't say it. I'm on the air and I'm on the internet, so I can't say what I want to say. But let's just say, I don't think that they deserve to be among us at that report. Let's put it that way. Hour 2 is dead ahead. The Michael Duke Show. Okay. Yeah. Is there a specific case of abuse? Send them to jail? No, I don't want to send them to jail. I mean, would chipper go burr, right? I mean, I don't want to see that, because they have broken the trust of society in so many ways, especially given the fact that they have a position of authority over children that they then abused in that regard. Yeah, that is, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and Ken says, to be fair, lots of child molesters are in churches as well, and I agree, Ken. Anywhere where you have people that you can have positions of authority over children, you have to be very careful. Very careful, and constantly be vigilant over that. It's just, you got to see. 450 years of taxpayer money? Nah, I donate one of my PMAGs, says Anthony. I mean, the lead pill is really the ultimate solution for this situation, right? Because you just can't, you can't fix that. You can't fix that. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm scrolling backwards here. We're talking weather. Yeah, because I said that I would, because I said that I would mention it, because it's a wind alert. It's a wind alert, man. Yeah, and I agree with that, Fat Ray. I mean, I am all for people being able to, you do you, boo, but at the same time, you're not going to force that on me. Fat Ray says, we went from what I do in my bedroom is my business to let me be around your kids or else, bigot, awfully fast. And I agree with that. I agree with that as well. Hold on a second here. I got Judy on the phone. Okay. Well, sometimes people are not, technology is, gets them sideways. Technology gets them sideways here. Let me see if I can get Judy on the line here, and we'll see if we can get this thing squared away. She was supposed to connect through our StreamYard, but she's having a hard time doing it. So let's go over here and see if we can get the phones going on here.
Here you go. Thank you.
Hello, Judy. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Sorry, I don't have Chrome on my computer. I guess I should get it, but I just use Safari, but I couldn't get it. It wouldn't download this morning for some reason. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, no, it is what it is. I'm glad that I'm glad
I'm too old to keep up with all of it.
Yeah, no, I love it. So, okay. Well, and it's Eledge. Is that, am I right? Or is it Eledge?
It's Eledge. Is the word edge, EDGE,
yep.
with L.
Okay.
Eledge.
I just want to make sure that
you have to spell it because it's
yeah.
People want to put 2 L's in it, right?
You bet. All right, Judy. And so I'm going to put you back on hold. I got to build a little screen here for you. So I'm going to put you back on hold for a second, and you'll be in the waiting room for us, and we'll be diving into the whole ranked choice voting debate here in just a hot second. So don't go anywhere. Let me get this squared away, folks, here. Please don't forget to like and share, like and follow the show page, do all the YouTube-y things, and whatever it is that you want to just go out there and share it with us. And don't forget to check out our new YouTube shorts as well. Our new YouTube shorts are doing pretty good. Lots of folks out there are pretty excited about it. So go check that out. Let's get that squared away. All right. let's see here. I got to get this picture put together here for Judy, and we'll get her on the screen here in just a second. Okay, look at that. Feel like I'm doing the Lord's work out there. Okay, and let's get things going on. LADGE. Okay, we got it. Rank choice. This is stuff that I normally do ahead of time, but because Judy couldn't get on the deal, we are ready to go. Okay. All right, my friends, let's get to it. Double check to see if there's anything else that was crazy before we jump into it. Where ranked choice voting, cool, says Gordon. Where do I find a petition to sign to get rid of ranked choice voting? Judy's going to tell us all about that here in just a minute. Judy's going to give us the full rundown. Although I do know that this Saturday from 1 to 3 at Captain's Coffee in Homer, they'll have some petitions, but they're running out of time here. So we'll get down to it, and we'll talk to Judy here in just a second about that. All right, we'll be back. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio. Here we go.
Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out themichaeldukesshow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
Sounds just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Oh, yeah, live around the world on the internet at michaeldukeshow.com and across the state of Alaska on this your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming in and joining us this morning. We appreciate you guys being part of the program on this beautiful, windy and rainy Thursday. Thanks for coming on board. We finished up with the first kind of a free-for-all hour in the first hour. But in this hour, we're going to be tackling ranked choice voting. And the second repeal effort is underway right now, but it's getting ready to draw to a close. And they're looking to get all the signatures that they can here in these last I think 10 days or so. We're going to talk to Judy Eledge about this here in just a second. I know that there's going to be signature gathering down here in Homer at Captain's Coffee from 1 to 3 p.m. on Saturday. Kevin McCabe says he's going to be at the State Fair on Friday, Saturday, and Monday at the Matsu Republican Women's booth, and he'll be collecting signatures there on the Purple Trail. And anybody else that wants to do it. And we'll get all the other details from where it's at here with Judy, who joined now. We'll see what Judy has to say. Good morning, Judy. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I'm fine.
I'm doing pretty darn good. So Judy, let's talk a little bit about ranked choice voting, your organization, and all the stuff that's happening right now. Give us a little background here.
Well, thanks, Michael. This is the second effort to repeal ranked choice voting. I decided to kind of put this together when we lost it by 700 votes after them coming $15 million of dark money, or outside money is what I call. I think it's dark money. It's kind of funny. They were talking about putting this law in because they wanted to get rid of all this dark money. And they were actually the ones that brought in all the dark money of about 15 million against 150. So I knew that it wasn't very popular for us to come that close to winning. And so I decided, for some reason, I'm not sure why, I guess I can't retire, to jump in I remember my mother saying, if you raise your hand one more time and say, my mama will, I'm going to spank you when you get home.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm still raising my hand, but I am the chair. And I decided that if anyone knows me, this was going to be a very organized effort. I brought on Bethany Markham, who was working for Americans for Prosperity. They were unable to do the signature collection because of the true source. The worst thing in this law, and Scott Kendall, as I say, some people refer to him evil, but if he's evil, he's very brilliantly evil. And he wrote this bill to where it really cut off a lot of funding with organizations that conservatives have. For example, Americans for Prosperity, even the Republican Party, if they donate, if they give us any money, then they must give up every donor that they have all over the United States.
Right.
And most nonprofits just aren't willing to do that. So we decided, we wrote out a plan. We have 4 phases. We're now in phase 2, which is the signature gathering. We also have a plan to raise money. We know we're going to hire signature gatherers. It is just really hard to get 40,000 signatures. That's a little more than we need, but we want to be sure that we have, if they throw any out, we still have enough. And as everyone knows, this is 30 districts out of all 40 in the state. We're doing pretty well. But in actuality, one of the hardest places to collect sometimes is Anchorage. We have the most districts. We have to get the most signatures. And so that's been our hardest effort. But right now, Bethany has set up a very detailed way that you can get a book. A lot of people have good intentions. They think they can get 150 signatures. It's extremely difficult unless you stand outside where there's an event to get them. I know to get my first book filled, I went to an AMAC meeting, and then I went to a blessing of the bikes, and I got them all. So speaking of Kevin McCabe, I just want to tell you what a wonderful, powerful woman he's married to. Lynn McCabe has, that woman has organized the Mat-Su borough to where I think we may not even need any more in that large borough, just because she's done such a great job. We come in, we have 5 regional directors throughout the state, and those are the people to contact if you need a book. On our Facebook page, every weekend, if there is any opportunity, we post where we're going to be. And so that is a really good way to find out, well, where are they going to be? Like in Kenai last weekend, we were at the Kenai River Classic collecting signatures there. There was some type of independence, something they had on Saturday. We had people there. So we usually have somewhere, if you need your signature, to go to get it signed. If you absolutely cannot, we'll try to get somebody to come to you and get it signed. So right now we're trying to get signatures. We're wanting them a little bit early so we can be sure that we get this on the 2026 ballot. So we're trying to get all the books back in we say September 15th. The absolute latest would be the end of September. Then that gives us time to find out where do we have to go back and get signatures, because you have to have 7 to 10% of people that voted in 2024 in that district. For example, let's say District 32. Let's say we have to look at how many people voted in that election, and we have to come up with 7 to 10% of signatures in that specific district. So we have to keep up with exactly how many signatures we have in each district. It's not just the total number of signatures.
Right.
And so it is a lot of work. Bethany Markham has really worked hard. We're going to bring in, we actually have them here now, paid signature collectors. We don't want to have to do that, but there's just no way to get them without doing it. So we're trying to raise $1.5 to $2 million to do the whole campaign, and about $250,000 to do the signature component of it.
Right.
And when that's put on the ballot, if we get all the signatures and they approve it, we should know early January. The minute it's on the ballot, then we start the campaign, and that's when the money is going to come in against us. But I do think we can get some national people. President Trump does not like this, and I think they're waiting to see if we get it on the ballot, and we'll get some of that outside money. Sorry to say, Alaska does not have the monetary base to raise $15 million worth of money.
Well,
we have to go out.
Well, that's part of the problem. We're talking with Judy Eledge, who is with Repeal Now. You can find them at repealnowak.com. They're the secondary repeal effort for the ranked choice voting. That's part of the problem, Judy, is that we just don't have the constituency base or the donator base to be able to raise $15 million. Ranked choice voting got in initially. And a big chunk of that, they spent $7 million to convince Alaskans that this, and ironically, it wasn't really about the messaging, because I worked in radio in Anchorage, right? I mean, I was there at the station. I could see what was coming in. The messaging that they put out there really had very little to do with ranked choice. Maybe 10 or 15% of their messaging was actually about the ranked choice component. The majority of the messaging was all about dark money, take away dark money. But ironically, it was all funded by dark money, different groups, that would cascade down. There was groups within groups, and it was the original money was hidden and everything else. But that's the thing. Alaska right now is a battleground for places in the States because we don't have that kind of money. They found out we're a cheap date. Now we've got to learn from their playbook and be able to raise money from conservatives and others outside to help fight this off.
Yes. Yeah, that is true. We, like I said, I'm not going to say how much we raised. You can go on APOC and do that, but we have raised quite a bit. But we know, like I said, believe it or not, I think I'm going to retire and be a signature collector. It's amazing what they get today for each signature, but it's just something that we're going to have to do in order to get them. We have a little less time than the other group had. They had a little longer time than we have had. Ours is kind of condensed, and when you do things in the summer, you know how hard that is in Alaska.
Right.
But I'm proud of where we are today. We have over 300 books out for signatures. We, if everybody got the 150 signatures that of the 300, we would have more than enough. But we do have people that think they can get signatures and they can't. They turn in the books and they're not complete. Once that book is used by someone, it cannot be used again. It has to be turned in. And the biggest thing with that is if we run out of the 500 books that they gave us, which I don't think we will, but if we did, we'd have to pay to have those books reprinted. And so we're trying really hard not to do that. We do have an advisory board. We decided that we needed to hear from people that were not in politics. Oftentimes, Michael, we think a message is one something, and then out there not the message that's going to sell. And so we asked people that were many of the people were absolutely not involved in politics to help us give advice. To us, we will be doing some focus groups and polling to see what is the message that resonates with Alaskans. One of the things that the ranked choice did that just really bothered me and was the fact that they just lied about who could vote, using ranked choice. Well, 83% of all Alaskans could vote because in the Republican primary, and that's what they were talking about, because everybody but like the Democrat Party, if you were undeclared, if you're nonpartisan, all of you could vote in the Republican primary. And so that was just a lie. And actually, there's a law against lying. We actually wrote all of the media outlets in Alaska and told them that they were lying. We quoted the law, what their advertising was saying, and they actually did change the messaging in the ads to maybe you can't. You know how they do. But they've got a lot of money. They have. I wish I knew where all the conservative billionaires were, because there's sure a lot of liberal ones that seem to donate to these things. And so we have to raise every dime. We're very lucky that we had a wonderful person is donating monthly in kind for a little small office that we have. But it is a lot of work. It has been a lot of work. We just need people to donate. They can go to our website and donate. If they want to donate big dollars, they need to contact us at, you can always contact us at our email, and that is Repeal Now Alaska, and that's the only place Alaska is spelled out, ALASKA @gmail.com. And like I said, we try to have something almost every weekend somewhere. And there are a lot of people with books that would be glad to come to you to get those signatures wherever you are. And like I said, Eileen Becker is going to be at the coffee shop from 1 to 4 this Saturday, and she hopes to be there next week too.
We're talking with Judy Eledge, who is the chairwoman of Repeal Now. Again, you can find them at repealnowak.com, repealnowak.com. She's got a Facebook page as well. We're going to continue with her here in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue right after this, The Michael Dukes Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We return with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes On Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay, we are in the break right now. Judy Eledge is our guest. People are asking the question, and I see that you guys even mentioned this on your Facebook page. I mean, how is it that liberal blue Colorado rejected ranked choice voting, but we here in Alaska, which is red to purple, not full blue, but red to how in the world did they get this? What was the difference, do you think, Judy?
Well, there's actually been 17 states that have rejected it. It's still the only 2 states that have it are Maine and Alaska. You can see those are 2 very small states, and they can have a lot of money can have an effect in those 2 states because they don't have that donor base. But I think a lot of people, we were one of the first, and I think people know more about the ranked choice. They brought it in several cities, New York City. I know that Juneau is looking to do that. Mail-in voting and ranked choice, that will not help the more conservative side of the avenue, I assure you. And so a lot of the cities that are very progressive are trying to bring in the ranked choice because it is just so darn confusing. I mean, if I tried to explain it to you, I probably wouldn't do it correctly, even though in my head I know what I should do. But yes, how has Colorado? I mean, I think that there was just more information and more time about how bad it was. And so, for us to have that much money come against us last time and lose by 700 and something votes, and I don't, we had a couple of dumps at that vote that I wonder that came from Anchorage that appeared with ballots that are not stamped, but they're still accepting them. There's just so many things going on in our elections that really affect everything. And when you have something like ranked choice that takes so long to get it, the longer it takes to declare a winner, to me, the more time that somebody with maybe not good thoughts has a chance to change that election. I don't understand. When we used to know who won on the night of the election, now we wait weeks to find out.
Yeah.
And I think that just there's just a lot of distrust in something like that.
Yeah.
But they've got money to lie and say the things. I think that this time, I wanted to tell people that if you didn't want to collect 150 signatures, you can send us an email and we can tell you how much one book cost us if we hire a signature gatherer, and maybe you can donate that amount. It's
Right.
just we're trying to do that because we have to get these signatures to get it on the ballot.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. And it's not easy to do. We work every day. I don't work nearly as hard as Bethany Markham does, but she is over the signature. We do have one paid position, and the fact that we're paying someone to do our monthly APOCs and our reporting, because we were not going to come away with a big fine. Bethany and I have a lot of experience running. Bethany and I have a lot of experience running things, and so we've got it set up that we're very, very careful of everything that we do.
Yeah.
Everything we do.
Well,
we know we're being.
That was a big challenge with Phil Izon and his crew on the first ranked choice voting repeal, of course, was that they had to try and navigate the whole APOC situation. And of course, Scooter Kendall is the lawfare warrior. I mean, he will look for any little thing and drain your resources just trying to lawfare you to death on that, for sure.
Well, that's why we have been meticulous about everything that we do.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Well, and I want to go through some of the details here. You mentioned the length of time, how long it takes to get results, and some of the other things. There's a whole list of problems with ranked choice voting specifically. That's definitely an Alaska specific thing that we need to discuss. And I want to talk about that. Judy, do you know where folks can find the books in like Fairbanks, Matsu, Anchorage? And do you have like I looked on your Facebook page and I don't see a list.
Okay. That is where it's posted. If there's anything going on right now, we also we can contact Barb Tyndall. If they will send an email, we get that immediately, and we will contact them and tell them where they can get it.
All right, hold on. We're about to rejoin the radio. Let's not run over the thing here. We're going to continue with Judy Eledge from Repeal Now.
The Michael Duke Show. Seriously humorous with a pinch of intellect. Sorry. That is humorous. Here's Michael Dukes.
All right, we're continuing now with Judy Eledge, who is the chairwoman for Repeal Now. That is the organization that is dedicated to trying to take this second crack at the apple for the repeal of ranked choice voting. You can find them at repealnowak.com. That's repealnowak.com, and there you can find links to their Facebook page and get some information on where they're going to have the different books and for signatures around the state of Alaska. Audrey in the chat room just said the North Pole Mall from 4 to 6 p.m. at the North Pole Mall several weekdays. There's somebody there that has a book. We, of course, know that Eileen Becker's going to be here in Homer from 1 to 3. We know Kevin McCabe is going to be up at the State Fair this weekend at the Republican Women's Booth. There are several of them going on out there, but Judy said that the Facebook page has it, or if folks want to send an email to find out where to go sign up, which email do they use, Judy?
They use Repeal Now Alaska, but Alaska is spelled out. Repeal Now Alaska at gmail.com. And we will, as soon as we get that request, then we'll be, I just got a message from Bethany, who's out of state also, that she's posting on Facebook every day. And so there may not be a specific place, but we know someone that has a book, so pretty well can make those arrangements or put you in contact with that person.
All right. Well, let's go over.
Well, I mean, and we have to depend on, is there an event? And things are kind of winding down since the summertime.
Right, exactly. And again, we've only got, maximum of 30 days. You'd like to have all the signatures done in the next 2 weeks or so, but maximum of 30 days to get all these in, so that you guys can then see where you need to backfill in certain areas. And you mentioned earlier about some of the delayed results, and there are some very Alaska specific concerns for ranked choice voting, and one of them is the delayed results. I mean, we used it in 2022, and it took over 2 weeks to get the actual results of the elections, and that left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And now, whether or not there is inefficiency or there is shenanigans in our electorate, the problem is that perception and a lot of times is reality. So even if there isn't something hinky going on, people feel like there is, right? And that leads to a distrust in the voting system.
Well, and I think that, I think it hurts us. I think a lot of people don't go vote because they're confused. I'm in it, and I still, like I said, would have difficulty explaining exactly how they do with their little algorithms and things in order who moves up. A lot of times you see somebody. That's what concerns me. You see somebody winning on that night, and then as the votes trickle in, they lose, and that there's a distrust there. Where are those ballots coming from? Why didn't they come in on election night? And I will tell you that the Democrats have basically turned absentee balloting into mail-in balloting. Conservatives used to win all the time in absentee ballots, the military, all that. But what they've done, they've basically sending absentee ballots out to people that are right here and could go vote. And I do think that's something we need to tackle in our legislature. Say, you have to have a reason for getting an absentee ballot. It's not a mail-in ballot situation. And basically, that's what the Democrats have done in this state. In other states, they've turned what used to be absentee ballots when someone was really gone out of state, like the military or someone like that. They've turned it into mail-in balloting.
Right.
We really need to look at some laws. That we're going to get that with the legislature we have. But that is really, they're doing that without ever having to vote it in.
Right. It's the ballot harvesting where they send out all the ballots to the people and get it done. The other, the other thing that this repeal would do, is that it would remove the jungle primary, the open primary, which is, that's a huge part, right? Because the jungle primary is what leads to all this vote splitting, which I think is strategic. I mean, let's look at what we have right now in the governor's race, right? You got 9 Republicans and 1 Democrat, which is, which again plays right into the hands of the Democratic Party at this point.
Absolutely. And, they really attacked the primary system. And I want to tell folks that think they want to open. I think Republicans and any party that does all the work has a right to put their candidate forward. You can argue with me all you want about it, but 83% of all the people could vote in my primary that I would have to choose who we wanted to represent against the Democrats. And and we actually have Democrats that don't like this either. I mean, we are nonpartisan. I think most people working on it lean conservative, but I will tell you that we have Democrats that don't like this either. They're actually our volunteers. And so the thing is, I think that, we allowed, like I said, the Democrats had their primary and we had ours, which was not, like I said, why would a Democrat want to vote in a Republican primary to begin with? We let undeclared, everybody voted in the Republican primary. And you're right. When you've got all those candidates like that, that's exactly because we've got some strong candidates. And I think people need to be careful. And this is on the election and not ranked choice. But, there's not that many people that vote in a primary, right? I don't know what the number was last time he voted, but you take that. So you take the Democrats and then you take the Republican side. Well, we have 4 people that are going forward. We know that the Democrats going to get one of those positions. So you have the other 8 fighting for 3 positions. What concerns me, and they're always saying, well, if you're not the top getter, you need to get out. And I say, well, wait a minute. And that, in my experience, is we need to look at who can win statewide and who can raise the money, because whoever those 3 Republicans are not going to have a lot of votes when you look at it, unless it's like with Nancy Dahlstrom and Nick Begich, and there was 2 of them, and it was pretty obvious he slaughtered her. But you're still talking about, in the primary, less than 15 to 20% vote in that, and of the state.
Right.
So you get somebody out of that maybe has a little more money, has a more of a grassroots, maybe in the primary they vote, and then they can't win the statewide election. That's just the way it is. And so sometimes Republicans are not as strategic as we need to be. So, I don't say, oh, everybody just gets out. You have to look at those numbers in that primary, and then look at the fact who can win statewide, who can raise the money. It's not, and I know people just, they want them to make, oh, you get out if you're not number 1. I'm one of the few people that disagree with that, only because I've been in politics in Alaska for 40 years. And I do think I know what I'm talking about. So we need to sometimes be a little bit strategic. And I guarantee you that's what Scott Kendall wanted to happen.
Well, you mentioned, low voter turnout, and we already have a hard enough time trying to get people out to vote under regular election circumstances. And the complexity that ranked choice voting creates, and some of the confusion, is a form of voter suppression, essentially. The studies around the country have shown that 20 to 25% of voters find it difficult to understand ranked choice voting, which again contributes to a lower turnout and a higher ballot error rate. And again, we saw historically low turnouts in both the primary and the general, I think in part due to ranked choice voting's kind of convoluted process.
Yes. One of the other, well, I lost my train of thought of what I was going to say, but when it was something about the voting, now I can't remember. I'll hopefully remember. But yeah, it is difficult, and people, I think it's even more than 20 to 25 states, percent that really don't understand it. I know what I was going to say. One of the things that people got confused about is that the division of elections, when you are a ballot measure and you're trying to pass a ballot measure, it has to be yes. Like it was yes on 2. We may be 2 now. I think there's a ballot measure in front of us. And people thought, I don't want ranked choice voting. So they voted no, and they thought they voted for us. And it's, folks, you got to be a little more educated voter. And it's yes to, if yes on whatever ballot it is, we want to repeal the law. So once again, it's going to be yes, not no. You have to read the ballot measure and what it says. Do you want to repeal it? Yes. And I think, and last time we were on the back of the ballot. Now you talk about a hindrance there. And we tried to get out, turn the ballot over. Don't forget to vote. But a lot of people are lazy and they won't downvote. In the presidential election, you have so many people that voted for the president, but they didn't go on down and do the down ballot like they should. Then this time you have Nick Begich in with his uncle Tom Begich. Talk about the confusion we're going to have there.
Yeah, no, and I think you make a valid point. I mean, I spoke to several people directly who said, "Oh yeah, I voted to repeal." And then I said, "Okay, well, what did you vote?" And they said, "I voted no because we don't want it." And I'm like, so the confusion is still going to be there because a yes means no to ranked choice voting, essentially, is what the messaging needs to be, right?
Right, but that, yeah, we're definitely going to put some money into convincing people of what they say. I remember the no on 2 with the oil thing. I mean, they stuck with a simple message and they drilled it into everyone's head. And that's what we're going to have to do. But of course, we've got to raise all of the money, very difficult. Hopefully we have heard, and we're hoping that if we get the signatures, which we really need some help. So if you've got some money laying around, we'd sure like for you to donate, because we have to get it on the ballot. And then we think that we're going to get, maybe there'll be some conservative billionaires out there that will help, because I know the president and others don't like it, but right now where we are, we've got to raise that money to get it on the ballot, and that's what we're in the middle of doing right now.
And you're gonna run a David and Goliath problem here as well, because again, people like Scott Kendall and the Alaskans for Better Elections, they've already got all the connections, they've got all the people, they've got the people with their checkbooks open right now, ready to go, and so this is going to be a huge battle in the 2026 elections. If you guys get all the signatures, it's going to be a huge battle for 2026 to try and win the hearts and minds of people, and again, probably to confuse people on this as well. So your messaging, as a marketing guy, I'm going to tell you my advice to you guys. Your messaging is going to have to be crystal clear. Yes to repeal ranked choice voting. Yes means no, essentially. So
basically our website, repeal now. And like I said, we're waiting. We're pretty sure we're going to be ballot measure 2 again, because there is a ballot measure before us. I mean, one of the things that the Scott Kendalls of the world, they have taken the petition. It's easy to get a petition, actually, get it and get those signatures and get something on the ballot. They're really good. They passed the minimum wage and several other things, and so they can get a lot of things. They can't do it maybe other ways, but they have the money that oftentimes they come in with petitions like this, and they're able to get them just with the amount of money they have, and they do not have any problems lying. I have never in my life seen such lies that are told, and it's just hard to convince people that that's not true when you don't have the money. But we really need, like I said, we really need people to go sign those books. And Homer, we need to get these signatures, because we don't have to want to pay. We know we're going to have to, but the more signatures we get from our volunteers, the less money we're going to have to do to bring in people to get the signatures. For some reason, they're very effective. And, people have lives. We all have lives. I carry my book around in the car anytime I think I can get it. But it's just hard to do, because they pay all of their people to get signatures. They come in as paid. They don't ask for volunteers.
Yeah, absolutely. Judy Eledge is our guest. She is the chairwoman of Repeal Now, the organization dedicated to repealing ranked choice voting. We've got some things happening around the state this weekend, and we've only got about 2 weeks to get the most of the solid signatures in. And they have to turn everything in by the end of the month, so they don't end of September. So they don't really go ahead.
We don't know. Hey, Michael, we don't have to. No, we've got more time than that. It's just the schedule that we have put in, so that we are not running up until getting into December where it's cold. Like last time, we were out frantically trying to get it. So we have more time than that. But what we're trying to do, we have to know how many we need in each district. We have to be sure we have those numbers. And so that's why we want people to turn their books in if they absolutely can, get that book in, so that we know where we stand in enough time that we go back out and get the signatures where we need them, and not be running into Thanksgiving and Christmas, which is just it's just so difficult.
Well, so it's a self-imposed deadline, but it makes sense, because again, you have to have a specific number of voters in each district, and so you have to know where you're lacking. You have to know where you're wanting, where you need to fill in the gaps. And so that self-imposed deadline is still a good deadline to have. But now's the time to get with it and get this and get this squared away. All right, Judy, if you got anything else, I have one more segment. You could stick with me, or if you think that's enough information, you let me know. Are we done?
Yeah, I think that's probably enough information. I've got to go into the office this morning and get up. We're there every day. And I just want to remind people that our website is repealnowak.com. If they have specific questions or needs, they need to send us an email and that is repeal now Alaska spelled out at gmail.com. And we do post things on Facebook. If we don't have something that's coming up, let us know. We'll put it up there. Like I am sure that Bethany is going to get it up that that Eileen is going to be collecting on Saturday. And as I said, we do collect a lot of signatures. We just really appreciate the Matsu Republican Women for letting us in their booth. We weren't able to get a booth at the fair because they've got a waiting list. So just let us know. We just need a push. I know everybody's busy, but if you can help us out, we really appreciate it. And if you know somebody that's got a book that's not filled, have them come with you to do it. They have to have their book at all times. But if you know where there's somewhere they could, we do have some people going door to door in Anchorage.
Okay.
And we have lists for that if somebody wants to do that. So just thank you, Michael, so much for allowing us to come on and talk about it. We really are feeling good about it. But we're just in the middle of, we've got to have the money and we've got to have the signatures.
All right, Judy, thank you so much for coming on board. Thank you for all you guys are doing out there. And we'll check back in with you or with Bethany here in a couple weeks to see where you guys are at. We'll see what we can do.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Judy Eledge from Repeal Now. Again, we'll give you some details on the other side, some of the places around the state where you can get this book signed yourself. We're going to be back. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio.
Running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Ha, nice beard.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay, we are in the break right now, just you and me hanging out. And so I got to go back and I got to find Kevin's comment here so that I give the details on the other side of that. Anybody who's listening in the Fairbanks area know if there's going to be signatures in Fairbanks this weekend as well? Please let me know in the chat here. I got to go back up and find Kevin's comment as to when he's going to be at the fair. I'm scrolling. You guys got a little verbose this morning. Okay, here we go. So we'll talk about Kevin's and we'll talk about this weekend. Chris says, so I take it that they're still short on signatures for the repeal. They could be. She didn't say how many signatures they've collected, but again, the biggest part of any kind of repeal is that it not only requires a gross number of signatures, like you got to have X number of signatures, you have to have X number of signatures from each voting. You have to have a specific number of signatures from each voting district. And so they could get the total number of signatures required overall for the state, but if they miss, a handful of signatures in one voting district, then it doesn't get on the ballot. So it's something out there that you need to do it. Miguel says, can I give my number out here so people can get a hold of Barbara Tyndall for the RCV? Yes, you may. You may, Miguel. And in fact, I'm opening up the phone lines again. So if folks if you want to call in, Miguel, and tell people, where they can find you or where they can do it. Somebody also mentioned that the North Pole Mall that they're doing it weekdays at the North Pole Mall from 4 to 6. I'm trying to see. Audrey said that. Let me put that on star in that one. There are several businesses at the state fair that have the signature books as well, said Kevin. And it would be nice. It would be nice to get those results, that they could get those results every day. The same day, that they could get election results the same day. I'm scrolling down here. Chris says, I donated all of my money to Bernadette. Okay, well, we'll see how that works out. Tawny says, keep it simple. Yes to repeal, period. Yes to repeal. I'm going through here. David put a link up for the donation page if you want to donate. But again, you can just go to repealnowak.com and there's a donate button at the top of the page there. Lynn says, follow the Facebook page and X. We also have some business locations where people can go to get that done. Let's get rid of ranked choice voting. Let's see. North Pole, 7%. Yeah, 7% from at least 40 of the 30 of the 40 districts, and 10% overall based on the voter turnout of the last election. So it's a two-pronged test to see where they're at. There you go. All right, we're all caught up. I'm all caught up, and my dog. My dog just continues to want to put his head on the LED light that's giving me my lighting in my studio here. He just continually wants to do it. And Cindy has also put her name out there. Thank you, Cindy. Is it okay if I announce that on the radio? I'm just asking for a friend. Is it okay if I do that? Let me know. All right. And Miguel has left his number in there as well. Let me put that in there. So I will announce these numbers if that's okay with everybody who just left them in the internet. I mean, you just left your number on the internet, so I don't know what you're expecting, but I will announce these numbers on the radio if you guys are all okay with that. All right. Okay. One final segment. Phone lines are open. Any topic is fair game. And we'll see what's going on. Oh, man, Harold tells us we need some focus today. Okay. Thanks, Harold. Thanks for bringing us back in focus, brother. Appreciate that. It's always with your helpful guiding hand that we're able to stay on track. I appreciate that. 15 seconds. Let's get back to it. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTube-y things, and do all that stuff. Let's get back to it, shall we? Here we go.
Public enema number one. Oh, wait, sorry. Public enemy number one, which makes more sense. On the other hand, he's a little bit of a pain in the Michael Duke Show.
Okay, that's where we're at. One final segment for today. And I went ahead and we kept the phone lines open if you want to sound off on any of the stuff we talked about this morning, including ranked choice voting or the pedophile problem in schools or anything. Whatever you want to talk about, phone lines 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. People have been asking about where do we sign these books? If you haven't signed any of the books for the second, now, maybe you signed it for the first one, but that's obviously dead and gone. So if you haven't signed it in the last 8 months, you still have an opportunity to sign the repeal. And I've got some connections here. So Kevin McCabe says that he's going to be signing signatures. He's going to be taking signatures at the state fair Friday, Saturday, and Monday at the Matsu Republican Women's Club booth. He also said that throughout the week, if he's not there, there's probably somebody there with a book at the State Fair, at the Matsu Republican Women's Club in the Fairbanks area. Miguel says if you leave him a message, he'll get back to you on getting a book and a signature. 907-388-1531. 907-388-1531. That's Miguel. If you're in the North Pole area, Audrey says that she is that apparently somebody is at the North Pole Mall from 4 to 6 on most weekdays. Most weekdays. 4 to 6 p.m. at the North Pole Mall in the North Pole area. And finally, Cindy is out in the Soldotna Kenai Sterling area. And she has a book, and she has a number. She says you can call her to set up a time to sign. Cindy's number is 907-398-4763. 907-398-4763. That's for the Kenai, Soldotna, and Sterling areas. She has a booklet as well. And then finally, Eileen Becker will be down in Homer at Captain's Coffee this Saturday, from 1 to 3, and you can get signed up there as well. Oh, and Lynn just dropped a whole bunch of places in the Matsu where you could sign it as well. Sylvia's Quilt Depot, a Jewel Equipment Rental, during the office hours at Jewel Equipment Rental. There's a couple other ways that you can do that as well. Okay, so now's the time to get all that done. And get an opportunity. All right, let's go back to the telephones here and see who's on the line. It looks like it's Henry. Let's see what he has to say. Good morning, Henry. What's on your mind? Hello, Henry. Are you with me? Henry, can you hear me? Last time. All right, for some reason, we can't hear Henry this morning. I don't know if it's a technical glitch or not, but Henry, you could try and call back if you want, but as of right now, I'm not hearing Henry. I just lost something there. What did I just lose? Well, you know how it is. Let's try this. Yeah. Well, apparently something broke between the time we had Judy on. The phone's broke. I don't know. Let me kill this one more time here, and we'll see if we can get it back on board here. See if we can get Henry on here in the last couple minutes. Don't forget, tomorrow on the program will be Firearms Friday, and we will be joined by Thanks so much, David Codria from the War on Guns. He should be joining us and writes for Firearms News and Guns Magazine, and he's going to be on board. Let's go over back to the phones right now. Good morning, Henry. What's on your mind?
Hey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Hey, I'll be honest. My real name is Herman Morgan. I use alias because I keep getting banned, but I have a couple of notes. I'd be willing to help gather signatures, and I'll be contacting them. But the president just signed a law banning voting, banning voting. But the real reason I'm calling because the first subject was pedophiles in our school. Here in Nyack, they've been teaching LGBTQ classes for years behind parents' back.
Mm-hmm.
And the person's responsible, on the education committees, they're responsible for all this. And we need to follow Nick's advice and President Trump and get the National Guard out here to help clean up our towns and villages because they've taken over our governor. It's a long-term plan. You should get Representative Andrew Gray on. He's in there. He'll explain. You'll see a pattern.
Okay.
They've even gone into our politics. Anyway, Mike, thanks for listening. What do you think about all that?
All right. Well, thank you, Herman. I appreciate it. Again, I have a problem with. I have a problem trusting the public school systems right now, based on all the things we just talked about. Whether it's in Bethel and the the trans teacher or the pedophilia that took place there in the Kenai, it definitely raises my concerns and gives me some distrust in the system, which again is one of the reasons why I homeschooled all my kids. But your mileage may vary out there. Okay, well, we got to go, folks. Thank you for coming on board. Tomorrow is another day. It is Firearms Friday, and we'll be diving into it with David Codria. Be kind, love one another, live well. The Michael Duke Show. We'll see you then. Have a good day. Yeah, no, I don't think we should be sending the National Guard into any of those places. All right. Well, that's it, my friends. I think we got to go here. Appreciate you coming on board. Yeah, I recommend you should read David Ignall's article in Must Read. That's a continuing unfolding saga of what's going on with the Attorney General and the grand juries. That's interesting stuff. Outlawed Thoughts just said, as someone from Seward, the Kenai story struck close to home, and it makes me glad that me and my brothers were homeschooled. I'm with you, my friend. Again, reason number 326 why I homeschooled my kids right there. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on board. We will see you tomorrow. Be kind, love one another, live well. We'll see you then, okay?
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.